Codes verified. Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
Hello, Captains, and welcome to the live recording of episode 446 of Priority 1, a Roddenberry Star Trek podcast. We've got a big episode this week, and I'm trying to hit the record button on frickin' Zoom because I always forget to do it, and now I can't find it. Record to this computer. There we go. So, hello, Captains. Welcome to the live recording of episode 446 of Priority 1. We've got a big show, big show. It is the 10th anniversary of Star Trek Online, and the content has hit holodeck. So, we've got a lot to discuss. Joining us for this episode is a very special guest. What? What's so funny, Anthony?
Well, we'll talk. We'll talk about it in a minute. We'll introduce our third host, and then we'll talk about who's not here.
So, joining us on this episode to fill in for Kat is fellow Star Trek Online community content creator Zeph Films. Zeph, thank you so very much for joining us on this episode.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be sitting in and helping today.
Thank you. It's really exciting to have you on. I mean, you've got an amazing YouTube channel of beautiful films, cinematic films, spotlighting some of the most iconic ships in Star Trek Online. You've been doing some amazing work, and I've been eager to collaborate with you in some way. So I'm glad you were able to join us this week.
Yes, no, I'm really glad to be here and talk some Trek with y'all.
Awesome. So yes, Kat is currently on her way back from Las Vegas. She was there over the weekend, and safe travels, Kat. She's in the chat. She says she might be hungover.
Yep, that's what I was laughing at. Was that it's what 5:12 p.m. there, and she's hungover.
Not for nothing though. 1 year at Vegas at STLV, that Sunday I just did not care. I drank a lot. I was out for the count the entire Monday. It was painful, so bad. I've learned not to do that to myself ever again. Good times. So, all right, let's go ahead and do a show. So we're gonna do things a little bit out of order this week, Captains. We're gonna save Star Trek Online news for the very end, because we are in fact going to get very spoilery. We're going to talk about the missions. And so we're going to save it to the end so that way, if you decide you haven't played them or you don't want to hear them yet, you can bow out. We don't have to worry about. Can you check Twitch again if you?
Yeah, I'm on it.
What was I saying? We're not. Yeah. So we'll go through everything. We're gonna do it after we do our review of Star Trek Picard, during on screen. So. If you haven't played the mission, stick around to the very end. We'll be doing Stone News last. There is no mission log live anymore after Priority 1. So we can go into the wee hours of the night. We are not. That's okay. We're all old fogies here and we'd like sleep. So we won't be going into the wee hours, but we aren't so pressed for time now. So yeah. So why don't we get this party started? I'm going to have a drink of water. Everybody ready?
Sure.
All right. I'm going to hit the big red button in 3, 2, 1. This is Elijah. Intro, sync 1.
Anthony. Oh, wait, I'm 2? This is Anthony. Intro, sync 2. This has never happened before. Oh my gosh.
This is Zeph. Intro, sync 3.
Yep. Intro in 3, 2. This week on Priority 1, we dive into Picard premiere pomp and circumstance. Star Trek Online's 10th anniversary is now live with missions, new ships, and new ways to spend your money. Of course, in On-Screen, we reunite with old friends and talk about Star Trek Picard's premiere episode, Remembrance. And of course, we cannot end the show without sharing your incoming messages. Hello, Captains. You're listening to episode 446 of Priority 1, a Roddenberry Star Trek podcast. Your weekly report of all the major news happening in the Star Trek multiverse. This episode was recorded live on Tuesday, January 28th, 2020, and available for download or streaming on Friday, January 30th. And available for January 31st. Okay.
The tingles.
This episode was recorded live on Tuesday, January 28th, 2020, and available for download or streaming on Friday, January 31st at PriorityOnePodcast.com. I'm Elijah.
I'm Anthony.
And Captain's Cat is unavailable this week, but have no fear, because filling in for her this week is fellow Star Trek Online community creator, Zeph Films. Well, not Zeph Films. Jeez, I always want to say Zeph Films, but it's Zeph Films.
It works either way.
Oh, okay, fair enough. All right. Let me do
I've
that.
heard worse.
You're so polite. You're so polite. Don't.
Canadian.
You're not going to last this podcast if you're this polite.
I'm Canadian. Deal with it.
Whoa. That's the rudest. That's the rudest I've ever heard a Canadian be.
I even apologized.
And filling in for Kat this week is another Star Trek Online community creator, Zeph Films. Zeph, thank you so very much for joining us this week. We're so delighted to have you. We've admired your work for so long, and it's about time we collaborate.
Yes, about time. Thank you very much for having me, and I'm very happy to be here and filling in for Kat. Hi, Kat.
Now, before we move on to the show, I do want to talk a little bit about you. Why don't you introduce yourself a little bit to potential listeners of the show that may not be familiar with your work?
So as Elijah said, I'm Zeph Films, or Alan. I live in Canada land, and I primarily do cinematic videos of ships in Star Trek Online. The purpose of showing off new ships in a way that you might not look at them in game, whether it be you have not so great graphics, or you don't slow down enough in the fast pace of like the DPS race to admire your ship. So it's really just to showcase the ships and really show the details that the developers put into these ships, and kind of just give them like their own little title sequence opening like a TV show. And I've been doing that for almost 6 years now. And yeah, it's been fun.
Anthony, do you want to jump in and say anything about who's?
Yeah. And actually, you did get to kind of make a TV show intro recently for someone, didn't you?
For somebody. Oh,
for Clear Skies.
Oh, right.
I can't keep up. I can't keep up with all these amazing videos that I am producing for so many people.
Oh, that little thing. Oh, yeah. Oh, I just threw that together in my sleep.
I did actually. No, not in my sleep, but I put it together in an afternoon. So Clear Skies, which is another stream that was that's partnered with Star Trek Online. They tapped me on the shoulder for doing a opening intro for their tabletop thing. So I did that, and yeah, that was a lot of fun. One of my better videos, I think. But yeah, I can't believe I forgot about that. Jeez.
Now, before we move on, one last thing: how can people find your YouTube videos?
So just search Zeph Films with one F, and you'll find it on YouTube, or go to my Twitter, and it is at @the_Zeph Films, and you'll find YouTube videos there. You'll find me.
And of course, we will be linking those in our show notes, Captains. Be sure to track him out.
Before we jump into the news, we want to invite you to join in on the weekly conversations, whether via social media platforms like facebook.com/Priority One Podcast, on Twitter or Instagram at Priority One Pod, or by email to incoming@PriorityOnePodcast.com.
Captains, you've heard me say it over the last several weeks that Priority One is, in fact, a community-driven production. None of us on this team make a dime in the creation of this show, not through our patrons, not through our sponsorship. All of that money that comes through our patrons and our sponsorships goes right back into producing this show, upgrading our equipment for when we go on live stream adventures to conventions like Ticonderoga, New York Comic-Con, and of course, Star Trek Las Vegas, to upgrading security on our website, of course, hosting the show. All of these things, unfortunately, aren't free. But with your support, we can continue to produce the quality content that you've come to expect each and every week. Just visit us over at patreon.com/PriorityOnePod and check out how you can become a supporter of this show by offering a financial contribution. But don't worry, we try to incentivize contributions through various tiers on our Patreon page. For instance, we are doing birthday cards. And of course, at $10, we have a completely separate, unscripted, unedited show of us talking about the latest Star Trek headlines, going deeper into the discussion. So be sure to check that out. Now, if you cannot afford a financial contribution, there is another way that you can support Priority One, and that's by sharing our content. The moment you see us post something on social media like Facebook, Twitter, be sure to hit that share button, not just the like button, but also share it with your friends. Let them know that they can get their weekly roundup of Star Trek news right here on Priority One.
Now let's check out all the latest news from the Star Trek multiverse.
Can I add one thing before we stop?
Yeah.
Here's a little tagline you could probably use. I'm Zeph Films, and I support Priority One, a Roddenberry Star Trek podcast.
Nice. Thank you.
No
all right, everybody hit stop. All right, let's export this out and make sure it saves as a dedicated MP3 file. I may not have created a...
Yeah, there's no folder yet.
I'll do it.
Export as MP3.
This is how the sausage is made, folks. This is how it works. Just...
Look away.
Play me off, Johnny.
Yeah, that totally wasn't a Mass Effect reference there, by the way.
Which one?
The I'm Zeph Films, and this is my favorite podcast on the site. Salaknar saying there.
You are a volunteer, Salaknar. You work for the fleet. You help out on social media, make sure that we're not broken all the time. Oh man,
exporting audio.
I can't. Kat, I really hope that and everybody. I hope everybody who's watching now gets the opportunity to go to Vegas some year. Alan, have you been to Vegas yet for STLV?
Never. I am really, really hoping to go this year.
Nice. I hope you can.
Yes. I think there'll be many beers had with many people.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Can you do me a favor, just for my own peace of mind, Alan? Just listen back to your MP3 file. Make sure it sounds okay.
You don't trust me.
It's not you. It's
Look,
technology.
Man, do you know how many times I've thought I recorded and didn't, and had to go back and re-record myself?
You know, I can't hear my thing if you're talking.
Oh, wow.
We're good.
Cool.
What I'm also going to do, though, is I'm just going to also save the project just in case. Yes, Audacity, I know.
I'm mad at Ed O'Connell.
Why?
Excuse me?
Because he's got one of those cars. He's got those headlamps that have like 400 candle power.
Well, you do know, did you not learn in driver's ed that when you have an oncoming car, you don't look directly at the lights?
It wasn't the oncoming car. It was the SUV behind me on a single lane road at 6 o'clock, which is like super dark now, right? Or at this time of year is very dark. And the guy was up my butt, and not so close up my butt where I couldn't see his headlight, but close enough where it was just beaming into my eyeballs from my already dimmable rear view mirror.
Oh, well, at that point, what you do is you slam on your brakes really, really hard. and then
That's illegal.
That's not illegal.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Brake checking is illegal. In the state of New Jersey, brake checking is
really?
illegal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I can't imagine why it's not in Rhode Island.
Because last time I checked, if somebody rear ends you, it's automatically their fault for not
if you brake check.
How do they know if you brake checked?
Everybody's got dash cams.
Did they not see the deer that ran out in front of you?
That's true. I do have a lot of deer on that road.
Like,
well, if a deer runs out in front of another car and you slam into the back of the other car, then you're still considered following too close.
Yep.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's why he slammed on his brakes, because there was a deer.
Deer.
Yeah.
All right, let's do some Trek It Out, shall we? Everybody ready?
Yeah.
So let me get this sheet up. Trek It Out. There it is. Okay, I'm ready.
All right, I'm going to hit the big red button in 3, 2, 1. This is Elijah. Trek It Out, sync 1.
This is Anthony. Trek It Out, sync 2.
This is Zeph. Trek It Out, sync number 3.
Trek It Out in 3, 2. It's been a little less than 2 months since the formation of the new Viacom CBS, home to the Star Trek franchise. And now, an article from The Hollywood Reporter gives us the rundown on a number of staffing shakeups at the company. So far, one of the biggest impacts was felt in the CBS ad sales teams, which underwent a series of layoffs and promotions earlier this month. Also announced recently was the departure of Amy Doyle, who served as general manager of MTV, VH1, CMT, and Logo. Perhaps the highest profile change will be the arrival of George Cheeks, who leaves behind a co-chairman position at NBC Entertainment. Cheeks' move comes as a bit of a surprise to many, given that he was promoted to the co-chair position only 3 months ago at NBC. It's speculated that Cheeks is arriving to be groomed as a replacement for CBS CEO Joe Iannello. Iannello was an ally of ousted CBS Les Moonves, who fought Sherry Redstone on the Viacom merger. When the merger was achieved, I just bit my tongue.
Oh boy.
When the merger was achieved, his position was placed beneath the authority. When the murder was achieved. When the merger was achieved, his position was placed beneath the authority of Viacom's CEO, Bob Bakish. So, the expectation is for Iannello to head for the exit doors. Exit stage left, all while Cheeks steps in as head of the CBS house. It's not unusual for corporate mergers to kick off a period of restructuring, so the changes aren't really surprising. And while we can't say what the shuffling at Viacom CBS will mean for Star Trek specifically, it certainly seems like the company has been pulling its full weight behind the And while we can't say that the shuffling at Viacom CBS will mean what Jesus H Christmas. And while we can't say what the shuffling at CBS Viacom will mean for Star Trek specifically, it certainly seems like the company has been putting its full weight behind the franchise with development and marketing efforts. With many Wall Street investment advisors listing Viacom CBS as a stock to watch for 2020. There's plenty of I see where the direction of this sentence was going. With many Wall Street investment advisors listing Viacom CBS as a stock to watch for 2020, there's plenty of reason to be optimistic that Trek's future is secure.
Yeah, with the amount of marketing that they've been doing for Star Trek Picard, I don't think Star Trek is in any danger of going anywhere. I mean, it is their flagship franchise right now, probably both in television and in movies. And I think that, if anything, they're making sure that there are people in place who are going to support Star Trek.
Yeah, Paramount's had a pretty rough couple of years in terms of their cinematic delivery. They've left for want with several of their pictures, especially blockbuster, or rather films that were supposed to be blockbusters just didn't make it. So hopefully these restructurings will aid the Star Trek universe specifically, because now they can live under one roof.
Alan, do you want to say anything? If not, it's okay.
Oh, no, I'm good.
Okay, all right.
Sir Patrick Stewart has dangled the possibility of a season 2 guest spot for several interviewers this past week. But if you're a viewer of ABC TV's The View, you may have seen...
Isn't it CBS?
Nope.
Isn't The View on CBS?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
The View is on ABC. Sorry, I'll wait.
All right. Sorry, my bad. Go ahead.
Wait your turn, Alan. No. Where was I? Oh. Sir Patrick Stewart has dangled the possibility of a season 2 guest spot for several... Is it for several interviewers? He dangled it for the interviewers? Is that correct? Shane, can we get a check on that?
Sir Patrick has dangled the possibility of a...
I just want to make sure that that's the
throughout
correct...
the course of...
Okay. So he's, just to be clear, he's not offering a guest spot for the interviewer.
Right.
Sir Patrick Stewart has dangled the possibility of a season 2 guest spot throughout the course of several interviews this past week. But if you're a viewer of ABC TV's The View, you... Excuse me.
Wait,
but
Shane is writing like 400... Yeah, that's what I meant. He at least joke off... Oh, okay. So he joked. Sir Patrick has dangled...
Oh, okay.
As teased...
Gotcha.
Yeah, I would say teased invitations.
It should be 2 several. It was fine the way it was. I would have just changed 4 to 2. Because 4 is ambiguous, as though he teased it for the interviewer or teased it to the interviewer. Or teased it for the interviewer? Yeah. Sir Patrick Stewart has teased invitations of a season 2 guest spot throughout the course of several interviews this past week. But if you're a viewer of ABC TV's The View, you may have seen by far the most touching invitation. Appearing on the show to promote his new series, Sir Patrick briefly took control of the conversation to declare that he had a formal invitation. Stewart addressed host Whoopi Goldberg, saying, quote, Alex Kurtzman, who is the senior executive producer of Star Trek Picard, and all of his colleagues, which I am one of, want to invite you into the 2nd season, end quote. The invitation was met with boisterous cheers from the studio audience and a joyful hug from Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg, well known to Trekkies for her role as TNG's Guinan, was moved near to tears by the invitation. She told the studio that Star Trek was, quote, one of the great experiences of my life, end quote. Adding, quote, I had the best time ever, end quote. Yeah, this was a really emotional moment. I was really happy that that this happened, and she clearly was not expecting it at all. And you could hear some of her other some of the other hosts on The View saying that she talks about TNG as being a special time in her life. So I'm really excited about what this might mean and what's coming in season 2 of Picard.
Yeah, I thought, yeah, that was definitely it. Actually, it felt so much like a national TV proposal. But then my brain quickly flipped. It's like, how funny is this that a representative of CBS is on ABC offering a job to another TV show on another network?
This is something that I am excited for, most certainly. I mean, to have Guinan back and Whoopi Goldberg return, we'll get more into this later, but yeah, I get it. They're trying to spin this as a non-TNG reunion show, but there's no reason why they haven't kept in touch. So yeah, this is absolutely exciting, and there are other actors from the Next Generation that I would love to see come back, like Tracy Coco,
Lieutenant J.
Bring back Lieutenant J. You see, here's the thing about Lieutenant J is that there is so much mystery behind Lieutenant J that they can do virtually anything with that character. So I'm all behind bringing back Lieutenant J, including the possibility of some romance or something, because I don't know, I in those early seasons of TNG, it sure did look like you were going on dates with Picard, Tracy. Going up to with the concerts, you were always next to him. I don't know. I'm okay. I'm cool with exploring that.
I just did a rewatch of The Next Generation, all 7 seasons, all episodes, and all 4 movies. And every time, Tracy, every time you came on screen, every time Lieutenant J was on screen, I screamed and pointed and told my family who that was. And she's on screen quite a bit. And there's some, like you said, she's sitting next to Picard at one of the concerts. There's some real great moments that she's in, and I think, yeah, why not? Let's bring her back. Let's do something fun with that.
She should definitely be a captain by now too. Actually, I see that as a comment. She should be a captain by now. Yeah, I agree.
Well, captains, that brings us to our first community question this week. What do you think about? What are your thoughts about Guinan returning for What is this? Oh, I see. That brings us to our first community question this week. What do you think Guinan has been up to since Star Trek Nemesis? Let us know in the comments section for this episode over at PriorityOnePodcast.com, or follow us on our social media channels, because we'll post this question for you to reply to.
Oh, is this my turn now?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Cool.
We're there. We've arrived.
We're there. Here's my moment. Don't mess it up. If you're a Trekkie in New York or Los Angeles and have... Oh, God. Here we go. I need to make this bigger. That's what she said. I'm sorry.
Phrasing.
There we go. If you're a Trekkie in New York or Los Angeles, you had a special chance this weekend to participate in the buzz of the show. A large stage... Whoa. I got this like weird frog in my throat. It's just throwing me off. A large stage emblazoned with the show's title and a huge Starfleet Delta was set up in each city for fans to get photo ops. In New York, the pop-up appeared in Times Square, and in LA, it appeared in the Grove. Jeez, Christ, sorry. If you were If you were a lucky fan in LA,
wait, sorry, give it to me at the top of that sentence. If you were lucky. Why
does that sound so weird? If you were
a lucky. There we go.
Oh yeah. If you were a lucky fan in LA, you might even have bumped into one of the show's stars, Jonathan Del Arco. I said that right?
Yeah.
Jonathan Del Arco, who continues his role as Hugh from TNG. The star posted a photo of himself and his dog at the Starfleet Delta, along with the caption of, quote, "I'm an actor, but I'm also a fan. Also, Roxy was hoping to meet number one," end quote. There doesn't seem to be a published schedule for the installation, so keep an eye on Star Trek CBS Twitter. Should I say at Star Trek CBS?
Yes, please.
All right. So keep an eye on the at Star Trek CBS Twitter account to catch the Starfleet Delta when it lands somewhere near you.
I am so envious that I didn't get the opportunity of heading up to New York City to do this. I'm about an hour's train ride away, an hour 20, factoring in to get to Times Square. And my understanding was that the Delta in New York City on Times Square was only going to be there for the day on Thursday until like 8 o'clock at night. So it would have been impossible for me to get into the city on time without taking a half day off of work or something. However, I did live vicariously through several of my friends over in the New York City away team and Geek Life Rules. I saw several people posting pictures of themselves in front of the Delta at Times Square. That's exciting. That's quite a marketing push to do in the middle of Times Square like that.
I have a beef.
What's your beef?
A lot of this Star Trek stuff is filmed right here in Toronto. No premieres whatsoever, no marketing hype whatsoever, nothing in Toronto. Nothing.
Wow, that is fascinating. I wonder why they wouldn't do it.
And I can't even buy stuff off of Star Trek's website. Like, I wanted to get the Chateau Picard t-shirt off of their website. No, sorry, we don't ship anywhere outside of the United States.
Wow.
It's like, what did Canada do to you?
Yeah, I lived in New York City for several years, and Star Trek was not a big thing at that time. And then I leave, and now it's a big thing, and now there's Star Trek everywhere in New York City. I'm kind of a little upset, and but yes, I too saw some of the photos from our friends down in New York City. Very jealous, but very happy that they were able to partake in that, and how cool! I mean, Times Square is packed full of people every single day, and they all saw the big Starfleet Delta, and the Times Square billboards and electronic billboards were just plastered with Star Trek Picard. They're pushing this hard, and hopefully that means more people watching it, more fans, more support, and longer run of Star Trek in general.
Jean-Luc wakes to the sound of songbirds and an enthusiastic greeting from his favorite dog, number one. Crossing the antique wood floors of the chateau, he throws open the heavy curtains and gazes out across acres of wine grapes. The early morning sun sets a golden glow to the mists clinging to the hills of Southern California's Santa I don't know how to pronounce that. Santa Ynez. There we go. Clinging to the hills of Southern California's Santa Ynez Valley. Yes, captains, that's the truth behind the gorgeous filming of Star Trek Picard's Chateau Picard Winery. In the show, the family's winery nestles in beautiful La Barre, France. In reality, an LA-based crew filmed. In reality, the LA-based film crew looked a little closer to home. So we've learned from a recent article published in Wine Spectator magazine. The magazine spoke to the general manager of the Sunstone Winery, Dave Moser, who said that the production team were looking for a location that resembled a French. The magazine spoke to the general manager of the Sunstone Winery, Dave Moser, who said that the production team were looking for a location that resembled a real French chateau. The winery was a great fit with the property's villa. The winery was a great fit with the property's villa built from architecture and pieces brought to the States from southern France. Naturally, the staff of the winery were bound to silence by non-disclosure agreements until after the show was released. According to Moser, filmed According to Moser, filming was achieved by overhead drones and a few shots of Picard and Data in the vineyard themselves. He described the cast and crew as humble, nice, and very accommodating. On the subject of expected interest from Trekkies, Moser said, quote, "We encourage all the Trekkies and Trekkers to come visit us. It should be quite a few interesting weeks, if not months." End quote. All right, captains, who's up for a road trip to the valley? Napa Valley, that is.
I mean, if Kat were here, she'd definitely be up for going to a winery. I mean, we know that.
I'd be down for a winery too. I've discovered a love for nice white wines recently. So, yes, let's go. Go right now. I need wine.
Yes, I think the next time I have an opportunity of heading out to the Bay Area, I would like to spend more time exploring, and I definitely want to go to wine country up there. So this is definitely a stop on the list.
Hashtag P1500th.
Yes.
Well, captains, that's all the news we have to trek out this week. Now let's find out what happened in the world of Star Trek gaming.
All right, everybody hit stop.
My God, there's a brilliant idea in the chat. Elijah needs to voice a romantic Star Trek novel called Voyager's Threshold, Untold Tales from Janeway in Paris.
What? Who said that? Who said that?
James Skifter.
It would be James. It would be Skiffy.
Is that Skiffy?
Yeah.
Oh. Skiffy, did you see the picture of the new shirt I got? Oh, Skiffy, actually I'm wearing it. Any Mandalorian Red Dead Redemption 2 fans?
That's a nice combo. All right, so we're going to, in the interest of not spoiling Star Trek Online's mission story early as we're talking about all this stuff yet, we're going to save it for the end of the show. That way, if you don't want to be spoiled, you can bow out and just wait for the episode to be aired on Friday. So we're going to jump to On Screen, and we're going to talk about Picard, which if you haven't seen it by now, aw gee, why haven't you seen it yet? All right.
I don't know. I mean,
shut your hole, man. Shut it.
We'll talk.
All right, 446 score On Screen. All right, so there's no document for this, Alan, but yeah, well, okay.
I'll add in some little quips here and there when.
All right, I'm going to hit the big red button for on. This should be at the end of. Skiffy, I don't know what to do with this computer set short trek episode On Screen.
I think it sounds. When I listen back to the episode, I think it sounds fine.
I just never know how he does it, and so when I assemble the show, I never do it because I don't know what he's using. It's not in the template.
Oh,
Skifter.
Dun, 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 dun,
I think it should be at the end of Stone News, right? I don't know. All right, let's try.
Which sheet is this?
Oh,
wait,
it's
you said
the
there is a
no,
yeah,
there's no
right.
one.
Okay, I will.
All right. I'm gonna drink some water.
Well, it doesn't. Not to go into it too much, but isn't there a musical break or there's a bumper in between the two? So you sweep out of Stone News, the bumper, then it's this. I know written it seems weird, but when I listen back to the episode, it sounds fine.
Yeah,
it sounds,
Skippy always does it right.
Yeah.
I just never know what he does. I never remember. I'm gonna copy and paste it for you, Alan, just so you have it and you can see what we're doing.
This is a lot harder than it looks, by the way, people watching.
Yes.
I come from just being able to like pre-record just by myself, and if I mess up, I just snap my finger and be like, okay, that's the part for me to cut and render at my leisure. But now I'm like reading scripts, which I don't do for any of my videos, and I feel like I got like all these eyes on me. It's like silently judging my Canadian accent.
All right, let's. All right, you guys ready?
Ready.
Okay, I'm gonna hit the big red button in 3, 2, 1. This is Elijah on screen, sync 1.
This is Anthony on screen, sync 2.
This is Zeph Films on screen, sync 3.
On screen in 3, 2. Computer, set short trek episode.
Nope.
Oh,
nope.
shoot.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't know what that. Why?
Nope. Nope.
That
Nope.
Star Trek Picard episode Remembrance. On screen. Okay. I know it's mistyped. I know. But I got it. 3, 2. Computer, set Star Trek Picard episode 1 Remembrance on screen. Do you want to read it, Anthony, or do you want me to read it?
Why don't you're gonna ask me to do the touchstones, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so you should read it.
Star Trek Picard's opens elegantly with Bing Crosby's rendition of Blue Skies.
Sorry,
see-
did you say Picard's?
I said Star Trek Picard opens elegantly.
I think you said Picard's.
Okay. Star Trek Picard opens elegantly with Bing Crosby's rendition of Blue Skies. We see a beautiful, albeit dark shot of the Galaxy-class Enterprise. As we zoom in to 10 forward, we find Picard and Data playing poker. Before long, we learn it's just a dream sequence, and Picard is woken up in his bed on his vineyard by his number one, a pit bull. The story continues with introductions to characters like Zhaban and Laris, Romulan refugees Romulan refugees that are now friends and caregivers living on the The story continues with introductions to characters like Zhaban and Laris, Romulan refugees that are now friends and caregivers living on Chateau Picard in France. Soon, we meet Daj, a young woman with a promising future at the Daystrom Institute in Okinawa, Japan. That future is cut short when action ensues. Daj is attacked, her boyfriend murdered, but her evasion and escape only establish that there is more than meets the eye with this young woman. She finds Picard, and although he is unable to exactly identify her, Picard senses a unique connection with her, because she is, in fact, an android modeled after Commander Data. She is, in fact, Data's daughter. But she's not the only one. In fact, there's an identical twin on board a Romulan reclamation site, also identified as a Borg cube. Now, captains, before we continue on with our reviews, let's talk about some of the touchstoning that was all over the place in this episode.
Yeah, there's a lot of touchstones in this episode, so I just want to focus on two specific scenes. One of them is the Boston cityscape right before we meet Daj for the first time. And if you look closely, you'll see that there's a big Ferengi Commerce logo on one of the buildings. Maybe that's the Boston headquarters for the Ferengi, Commerce Authority. Also, there was a Cassidy Yates advertisement, probably for her transportation company. And also, in the very bottom right, there was the London Kings logo, which, if you remember from Deep Space Nine, Buck Bokai, which is Sisko's favorite baseball player, he played for the London Kings. When he broke, I believe, the home run record. I don't know. I don't watch stick and ball sports.
Now, I want to take it back a moment before you continue on, because just the opening scene with Blue Skies is a clear touchstone to Star Trek Nemesis. Data sings this song as a wedding gift to
Riker.
Riker and Troy on their wedding day. So this song has an emotional connection, and that style of panning into the ship through the window, I think, is an intentional callback to TOS, that very first episode, when the camera comes through the top of the bridge and into the bridge, that pan. This was again echoed and done again in Discovery a few years ago, and now we see it here as well. So these are iconic Star Trek cinematic motifs that we are seeing again, and I loved it. It was great.
Yeah, the playing the poker, Data's in his Nemesis costume too, which is a little weird. That whole first scene is a little weird for a couple of reasons, but we'll get into that a little bit more later. The next scene I want to mention, actually, before I move on to the next scene, Daj's boyfriend was Zahian, and that is the same race as Poe from the short trek where Queen Poe meets Tilly. And then the other scene I want to talk about is when Picard goes to the archive. That room is just filled with Easter eggs from TNG, including a model of the USS Stargazer, his first command, a Klingon Batleth and Datag knife, presumably from his time as Worf's Chadish. There's a model of the Enterprise E. There's the Captain Picard Day banner. There's another model of the captain's yacht from Insurrection. There's also his Kurlan Nuskus that Professor Galen gave him in the episode The Chase. There's the Enterprise D hanging on the wall behind everything, and there's also the big book of the complete works of William Shakespeare from his ready room, and I'm sure that there's others that are in there too that we haven't even talked about. But those were the ones that really stood out to me when he walked into that room.
Did you notice any, Alan?
No, you nailed them all, really. Just touching back on like the opening shot, I think there was also because I just started rewatching TNG, and I'm kind of, I hate to say it, suffering through season 1, but TNG opens up with that same shot where it starts off in the distance and then it moves into Picard. I believe he's standing in his ready room or something like that. So I think if I remember correctly, they had the same kind of opening shot there too. But the opening shot between him and Data, if they had put Data for that shot in the TNG uniform, it would have felt kind of like they're finishing off the poker game from the last episode of TNG. So it's like there was all of them, Picard included, and it's like it could have been like the last two of, like, they're the last two at the table playing poker. And I thought that would have been cool, and that's the vibe I got. And I just want to say, like, Brent Spiner, it didn't even feel like he hasn't played Data in like 18 years. Like his speech, his mannerism, everything was just like, it doesn't feel like he stopped doing Data. It was awesome.
It really is amazing how they are able to just slip right back into these roles, you know?
Yeah, that was awesome.
So, all right, let's just dive in and talk a little bit about our review of the episode. Anthony, why don't you go first?
Yeah, you know, when they bring a character back like this, you know, they did something similar a couple of years ago when they brought Luke Skywalker back for The Last Jedi. There's always this worry, you know, are they going to get it right? Is it going to be the same? And, you know, we all have, every single one of us has a different idea of how it should be or what we want. And, you know, I myself included, you know, when I watched this, before watching it, I was worried. I was concerned. I didn't think any of the trailers looked particularly great. But I didn't think any of the Discovery trailers looked particularly good either. I didn't think it was going to be that good of a show, but I love Discovery. And the same thing happened here. The trailers to me didn't look great. The episode I thought was fantastic. I love how they're easing us into this story. I love how Picard feels like Picard, but an aged Picard. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay that this is a new chapter in his story and it's not a TNG sequel. And I'm okay with that. There's a little bit of like some sort of, rehashes of sci-fi plots in general, but I feel like they're not focusing on that stuff. They're really focusing on Picard as the character, his relationship with Starfleet, and this new mission that he needs to go on. And so they're setting this up slowly, and I'm okay with that. I loved it. I loved everything about it. I've watched it about 4 times, and I don't think it could have been any better for me. I think it was fantastic.
So
This happens every time. I love something, and then you talk.
Well, so here's the thing. I absolutely loved it. So here's what it boils down to. I mean, this was a unbelievably strong pilot episode, first episode for a serialized season of Star Trek. For starters, I thought the pacing was on point. Maybe even a little too fast, but I'm okay with that versus the opposite, which is dragging along a plot point. Like I could have spent a little more time with Daj and Picard, right? To feel a little more when she goes bye-bye, right? But still, I may not like that. I may not have liked that if they did spend any more than the time that they had allotted to get to know Daj. So the pacing was spot on. And with that pacing came some phenomenal underscoring by Jeff Russo that kept the story and plot engaging. The music was almost its own character. And it's funny because after watching this episode, you want to go back and you want to watch a bunch of other TNG episodes to refresh your mind in certain theories and plot points and things like that. And one of the episodes I rewatched were Best of Both Worlds. And if you listen to the music for Best of Both Worlds, their moments of suspense are underscored by a xylophone, which is hilarious. And then you listen to the underscoring for Picard, and it is moving. It acts as its own character in the plot. So I encourage you, I tweeted this a few days ago, I encourage you to do a rewatch of Picard with your eyes closed. Just listen to the episode, because I think you're going to get a better appreciation for not only the music, but even the writing and the pacing. Aesthetically, also very different from anything we've seen before. I mean, if you watch interviews with Haneli, what is it?
Haneli Culpepper.
If you watch the interview with Haneli Culpepper on the first episode of the Ready Room, she talks about that. She talks about using warmer colors, more yellows, more oranges, more browns in this, which is a welcome departure from what we're used to in all previous Trek, including Discovery. Discovery was still on a ship with blue tint. It was a starship. Think back on TNG. Remember in Generations when they're sitting in 10, was it Generations? I think it was Generations. They're sitting in 10 forward and you see the starlight shining through 10 forward. The same set that we had been watching for over 7 years looked completely different just because of lighting. And again, I thought it was just beautifully put together for this episode. I want to say this. What I felt about watching this episode was like I was revisiting old friends. You have that one friend that, you can go months, maybe years without talking, but the moment you get together again, it's like no time has passed at all. That's what I felt like with this episode. No time had passed at all. No time had passed at all, and I was back in this universe with Captain Admiral Jean-Luc Picard and Starfleet, and it was just, I've watched it over and over again several times now since its premiere on Thursday, and I keep finding something new. I keep appreciating it a little differently. And mind you, I'm doing it, of course, because we have to offer some criticism or some opinions of it on the show. But this, even though I love it, is still a criticism. This is still me critiquing the show. So I encourage all of you. And Alan, of course, we'll get to your opinion in a moment. But before we go and we do that, I want to say one thing. I keep seeing this meme coming around about Picard hater bingo and things like that. And I think that as Star Trek fans, if you want, like I said earlier, listen to the music by closing your eyes and rewatching it. I encourage you to watch these episodes. If you want to be a vocal critic of Star Trek, watch these episodes several times. Watch them in different ways. Don't call people haters who may have a difference of opinion from your passion for Trek. I'm still a Trekkie. I don't like Discovery. I loved Picard. That still makes me a Trekkie. I'm not a hater. I'm still a Trekkie. Let's try to control the rhetoric and control the conversations that we have online about Star Trek, because Picard is like coming back home to family, and I think a lot of us feel that way, and we should still maintain that no matter who we are in this Star Trek Trekkie community. So, Zeph, Alan, what did you think of the episode?
It was fantastically done. Definitely, like, the one thing I noticed, like, right off the bat, and just from like what I do kind of day to day, is like the music. The music was just so like beautifully scored. It was just, I couldn't find anything I hated about it. Whereas the Discovery intro, I was kind of okay. But with this, it was just really, really, really well done. Well done. Oh my God. And to add to your thing about the lighting, definitely a different tone was set. Like, you look at Generations with the shot into 10 forward, it was a lot warmer. They used a lot more. It was also based on where they were. But Discovery does have that blue tint to give you that real feeling that you're in space, and I try and emulate that with my ship videos. This one there was not so much of that cold feeling. It felt warm, like, all the way through, except for maybe the end there at the Borg ship.
Right.
And obviously, like, that's the tone that you want to set in that Borg cube. So there was different moods that was given through coloring throughout the episode, whereas Discovery was kind of just always one, with that blue tint. The pacing, I thought the pacing was really good. I did get a little bit of whiplash there, where the Romulans came in after Zaj the second time. It was just like things were going so good, and it was just like there was just actually like an amazing moment there where Daj says that she was accepted into Daystrom Institute, and Picard, like William Shatner, oh my God, Patrick Stewart's his acting when he had that, oh wow, like I felt that, like I had that over Christmas break when I was telling my parents about something, and they're just like, I felt that genuine feeling of being proud of her through the TV, and I'm just like, holy crap. And then all of a sudden it's like pew pew pew, and I'm just like, hold on, what the hell's going on? I also had a very weird moment where he was having the revelation about the paintings, and I'm like, is this supposed to be lol? Like, what's going on here? And then we find out, okay, maybe not so much lol, but I also had a theory about Maddox being involved, and then they mentioned Maddox in the show, so it's like, okay, yeah. So I love the show. I can't wait for the second episode. I'm hoping that this tone that they've set in episode 1 continues, and definitely probably one of the strongest starting pilots for a season for sure. Me personally, I've actually really loved Discovery, and I thought Discovery season 1 pilot was actually really got to me, but look at the type of videos that I do and look at what cinematography is in there, right? Like that hit home for me. I'm like, oh my God, I'm in heaven. But there,
I hope that the pacing continues. I know that we're gonna have to slow down a little bit. I recognize that, but I hope that these next 2 episodes don't come to a crawl, which in serialized television today can happen sometimes. You have they come out of the gate strong, and then there becomes a slow burn over the course of several episodes before anything of substance happens again. And I hope that Star Trek Picard doesn't fall into that trap.
I think they'll be able to avoid that, because I noticed with season 2 of Discovery, I didn't feel much of a slowdown. There was maybe a little bit there with the Saru part when he was going through like his he was losing his ganglia or whatever, but every episode there was always something going on, and I think they're achieving that by not doing 26 episodes in a season. They're shortening it down to like 10 to 13, so you don't really have that time to go really slow like they have in Deep Space Nine, for example. There's times where it's just like, oh my God, like can we punch this thing to warp 9, please? So I don't think we'll have that feeling, but yeah, I really hope that. Yeah, I need to see more ships in this show too. Sorry.
Anthony, do you want to add any last things?
I will say this, because there's a good possibility I'll never say it again. Elijah, I agreed with everything you said. I'm on the same page as you. I everything you said, I agree with. The pacing for me was fine. I think that the next 2 episodes will definitely solidify the tone and the pacing, and I think that I think it's going to be okay. I really enjoyed this episode. I really enjoyed how they set stuff up. They informed us of sort of the thing that launches us with Picard on this adventure, and I'm really excited to see how this plays out, and I'm along for the ride.
Yo, I'm gonna say this on air, but we called it. We called it that it was gonna be Data's daughter. We called it.
We or me? Because I know I had the theory.
I did.
I had the theory.
No, you didn't. You had the Maddox theory.
You should
I had the Data. I'm gonna check the tape.
You should check.
I'm gonna check the tape.
You should check the Patreon chat, because I literally posted a thing that said crazy Picard theory number 47.
I know you did, and I didn't say anything about it. But I was the one who originally said that I'm pretty sure that this is gonna be LOL. I said LOL, but
I said LOL too, but I said Data's daughter.
You said it after I said it.
I most certainly did not.
Air for the record. Yes.
I wouldn't know. No, I wouldn't have said it if you had already said it.
I'm gonna find it.
Oh my God! Is this like the doctor, the holographic doctor in season 3 of Discovery argument?
Yes, maybe. Well, Captains, we're going to dive much deeper into Star Trek Picard Episode 1 Remembrance in our Patreon exclusive show titled After Hours. If you're interested in our opinions and want us to dive deeper into these discussions, then maybe consider becoming a patron and supporting us over on patreon.com/PriorityOnePod. At the $10 level, you'll get this and additional goodies.
That wraps up this week's On Screen for Star Trek Picard. Now let's open hailing frequencies and see what's incoming.
All right. Everybody hit stop.
Cap Wit 9. Why did you say check the gate? Because I know what that means.
I have a quick question. What number am I episode? Is this number
5.
3?
This is number 5. This is
number 5? Okay.
Yeah. Section 5, yeah.
Sorry. We've done 1 and 2 already, right?
1, 2, and 5.
Yeah, we did 1, 2, and 5. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Jumping around a little bit. Yep, $10 level, sir.
So Capwit 9, do you work in the film industry?
Oh, it's priority 1. I gotta like work on trying to streamline all of our links. What did Capwit 9 say?
Oh, he said check the gate. So checking the gate is something that you would do on a film set back when you would actually use film to photograph feature films. You would check the gate to make sure there was no, because the film would run through the gate of the film camera, similar to how it runs through a projector, except you're putting the image on the film. And so after you had a good take, the first AD would say check the gate, because the director approved the take. So the first AD would say check the gate. The first assistant camera would then look with a flashlight into the camera lens, and make sure that there was no hair or dust or film or particles on the gate, which is where the image is put onto the film. And so if the gate was good, the assistant camera would say it's a good gate, and then the first AD would say, okay, moving on to the next shot. So it's a term. It's a term meaning moving on, basically moving to the next thing.
I think we just call that check the receipts. Stay there, boomer.
I used to say, when I worked on film sets and I was the first AD, I used to say check the chip. And so they would do playback on the camera, and because you would photograph it onto a sensor chip, so I would say check the chip. Cash the check. Yeah, that's something what's his name says from the Marvel movies. Or cut the check. He says
that our $10 tier doesn't talk about after hours, and it should.
Oh, interesting. The money shout? I think you mean money shot.
Let's not explore that any further.
That is not entirely what it means. It also means the part of the movie where you spent the most money on the camera, on the scene that you're shooting. It's called the money shot. That's what it really means, but some other people took it and used it for something else.
Oh, okay. Let's not explore that any further. All right, so now we're gonna do feedback, and then we'll go back. So again, captains, we're going a little out of order this week because we are doing Star Trek Online just released its 10th anniversary content. Anthony and I had the opportunity of playing the missions today a couple of times, so we're ready to dive into them.
Did you play him, Zeph?
No, I got off work at 6, and then I'll stay on and listen to your input. It won't be ruined for me. Don't worry.
You sure? Okay.
I'm sure.
And so we're gonna save that for the end. That way, if you want to excuse yourself, you're welcome to, and listen to the recording on Friday. But we will talk about the episodes, and we're saving it for last for that reason. Picard's had a few days, so at this point,
I'll be right back.
Yeah. So, Picard, man, that was a good episode. That was solid.
Really
I really hope it doesn't come to a screeching halt. And I'm scared that it's gonna just all of a sudden the pacing is just gonna go stop. We're not gonna move the plot forward at all for the next 3 episodes.
Yeah, I hope they don't, but I hope for at the same reason, like I was talking about with like the shortened 10 episodes per season. I don't think they can afford, and I'm really hoping they don't try and afford themselves.
Yeah,
show me Hugh, show me 7.
Right. Yes. Bring those people in ASAP.
Yeah. And Riker and Troy. Actually, I think if anything, maybe we will see Riker and Troy in number 2. Who do you think we'll see next?
Who do I think we'll see next? I think we're going to see.
That's hard, eh?
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna see Riker or 7 for at least until episode 4. And
really?
I don't think we're gonna see, maybe episode 3, because Jerry Ryan I think was at the premiere, so I don't think she would not be at the premiere unless. Yeah, so I would say at least episode 3 we'll see Jerry Ryan. And as far as Jonathan Frakes and Marina Sirtis, I think they might come maybe episode 4 or 5, because in a lot of the interviews that I've heard is that they brought them in as the story was being broken. So my guess is that they had already filmed a few episodes before they were like, you know what would be really good here right now, if there was a powwow with so and so, and let's bring them in.
Jonathan Frakes mentioned that he directs the second set of episodes, so he directs 3 and 4, and then he mentioned somewhere that he said he then had to act in the one after he directed. So I think that Riker and Troy will show up in episode 5.
All right.
So maybe we'll see 7 and 2.
Yeah. All right. Let's do feedback. I'm gonna hit the big red button for feedback in 3, 2, 1. This is Elijah. Feedback sync 1.
This is Anthony. Feedback sync 2.
This is Zeph Films. Feedback sync 3.
Feedback in 3, 2. Well, Captains, hailing frequencies are now open, and we're ready to receive all of your incoming messages. Let me just start this week by saying one thing. Whoa! We got a lot of feedback from our community questions, and of course, other posts that we shared throughout the week asking for your opinions on certain things. We are so very grateful, Captains. There's nothing more exciting for us than to see our social media blow up with conversations and discussions about topics that are important to you. So thank you so very much. And although we wish we can get through all of them, we're going to have to just pick up on a few. Don't be discouraged, though, because we want to keep hearing from you from week to week.
Our first community question for the week was, would you rather see Would you rather see Discovery Season 3 released first or Lower Decks?
From Twitter, Gabe Weisdorfer. From Twitter, Gabe Weisdorfer says, I would rather see Disco Season 3 first. Such Sweet Sorrow and the trailers left me on edge. Such Sweet Sorrow and the trailers left me on edge about what will happen in this season.
On Facebook, Mark Jenkins writes in, yeah, Disco Season 3 is more exciting for me at the moment. I'm very interested to see the future further than we've been before. Hopefully, it's still the utopia that Gene Roddenberry envisioned. The world needs hope these days.
Oh, God.
All right, so Panagiotis
Lialios?
Yeah, Lialios.
Oh my God. You did this on purpose.
No, I blame, that's totally Shane. Way to go, Shane.
I'm going to have words with Shane. Holy crap.
It's going to be, Zeph is going to make a video just for you, Shane, and the ship is just going to be like with big googly eyes, and it's just going to be derp.
It's going to be
the
it's going to be the USS Shane just blowing up over and over again.
It's going to be that Harry Mudd episode where he kills Lorca over and over and over again, except it's going to be his ship. Okay, so Panagiotis
Lialios. I would say Panagiotis. Just say Panagiotis.
Okay. From Twitter, Panagiotis says, Lower Decks. Discovery isn't bad, but it's not amongst... Oh. Discovery isn't bad, but it... What the... Pardon my French. I caught it. I didn't
even catch it.
I don't think you're going to be invited back next week.
It's okay. I'm busy next week. Plus, you have somebody else. Anyway. Discovery isn't bad, but it's not among the best Star Trek shows I've seen, so it needs more time to improve it.
From Instagram, Blake J.K. Young writes, Lower Decks. I love disco, but it's heavy. Some light relief would be welcome right now.
So, did we talk about this last week? What are you looking forward to most coming up on CBS All Access, Zeph?
Well, I don't have it, unfortunately, because Canada, Star Trek, looking at you. So we get it all on Space Channel on our regular basic cable. I personally would like to see Lower Decks first. I wouldn't mind a little change up. We've had I'd like to see something animated, something new. So Yeah, that Lower Decks.
Cool. Well, our second community question this week was, what are you most looking forward to in Star Trek Online's 10th anniversary?
Yes, I got an easy name this time. From Facebook, David Collins says, the Borg Juggernaut looks very interesting right now. I'll be using a few keys or buying it on the exchange just to try it out.
From PriorityOnePodcast.com, Tyler Maxwell writes, no one thing in particular really, though the whole thing together sounds neat. New story missions, hero ship variants, space fighting Alachi walkers on a moon, and apparently some guy in a stovepipe. And apparently some guy in a stovepipe hat is going to show up. That last one is a bit weird, but whatever. Here's to 10 more years of fun Star Trek gaming.
On Twitter, Drogan writes in, looking forward to the episodes. And what new story Stowe has to... Looking forward to the episodes and what new story Stowe has for us.
We also asked you this week for your thoughts on Stowe's newly announced legendary ship bundles. Once again, you did not disappoint with your answers.
Right.
We're going to talk about it later.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Yeah, I know. From Twitter, Duncan Idaho says, I think it's a deal if you consider its 10 ships, standard 30,000 Zen, plus all the consoles, traits, and costumes of the lineage. The more useful thing to come out of this will be the individual ships. It's a great excuse to introduce new layouts and customization options.
On Facebook, Bud Molder writes in, not unless someone rich decides to gift it to me. Way too rich for my blood.
From Twitter, Andrew Tweederman writes, my thought is, I want it, and my wallet is about to commit a murder. Me, it's going to murder me. Oh, wait, hang on. My thought is, I want it, and my wallet is about to commit a murder. Me, it's going to murder me after I buy this.
All right, everybody hit stop.
Stop. Stop. In the name of Stowe.
Oh boy. Oh boy. I can't wait to get into this discussion here.
Oh yeah.
There was a lot of comments about that legendary bundle.
Yo, I swear our social media this week blew up.
Oh, it was crazy.
Like my phone was just bloop, bloop, bloop. I was like, oh jeez. Oh jeez.
Yeah. Yeah.
File new.
That is correct, Ragnat. This is exactly how the sausage is made.
This is indeed how the sausage is made. Have you? I feel like I'm watching. Yeah. Oh, have you? Do you listen right now? I'm curious. Do you listen typically to the Friday show, like the release show on Friday, or what? Like, how do you usually consume Priority One podcast, if at all? I'm assuming that you do. Lie to me if you don't.
Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies.
Oh, we're not allowed to sing. Only Elijah's allowed to sing. That's literally in our contract.
I'm the special guest host, okay? Number 2.
Oh, yeah.
Number 2.
Who does number 2 work for?
I have this Canadian urge to apologize.
Don't do it.
Right.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Let's jump into closing. I'm going to hit the big red button in 3, 2, 1. This is Elijah, closing sync 1.
This is Anthony, closing sync 2.
This is Zeph Films, closing sync 3.
Closing in 3, 2. Well, that wraps up episode 445.
46. I don't even work here and I know that. Didn't I tell you when I was reviewing these sheets, hey, your closing says 45?
Yes, you did.
Hey,
Sorry.
as Elijah likes to say, preparation is the cornerstone of our organization.
Yep. All right. Here we go. That's a good blooper right there. All right. Well, that wraps up episode 446 of Priority One, a Roddenberry Star Trek podcast. But there are more great shows available to you on the Roddenberry Podcast Network. Just visit podcasts.roddenberry.com for a complete list. Then be sure to subscribe to them and share them with your friends. And of course, if you are looking for some phenomenal cinematic images and videos of recently released Star Trek Online ships, Zeph, why don't you tell them where to go?
You can find me, actually, you can go zephfilms1f.ca, which will take you directly to my YouTube page, or you can follow me on Twitter at _ZephFilms.
And as always, we can't forget to send a special thanks to some of our Patreon supporters like Diana Gunther, Darnell Dwayne Ross, David K. Rutley, Joshua Selig, and Peter Archibald.
All right, it's time to remind you what this week's community questions are. What do you think Guinan has been up to since Star Trek Nemesis? Also, did you enjoy the 10th anniversary episodes? Where do you think the Star Trek Online story is going now? It's you. Oh, wait. Are you Kat? I don't know what you're looking at. The next one. Go ahead and read the next one. Captain's is important to...
Oh, that says Anthony for me.
Oh, yeah. Okay, you do it.
Sorry, I changed it.
Yeah, go ahead. You do that one.
Okay, so I'm doing the captains. It's important to us that you
Yep.
get your voice. Okay, cool. I wasn't expecting that. All right, we'll do it live. Captains, it's important.
Not the first time that has been uttered on this show.
Yep.
I know, right? Captains, it's important to us that you get your voice heard and that you participate in the conversation. Leave us a comment on our website at PriorityOnePodcast.com, on our Facebook page at facebook.com/PriorityOnePodcast, or find us on Twitter and Instagram at PriorityOnePod.
Hold on. Take it from...
Or find us.
Yeah, please.
Or find us on Twitter and Instagram at PriorityOnePod. Not prod.
We've made that error before.
Really?
Yeah, we've made that same. Captains, don't miss a thing from the Star Trek multiverse. Catch our episodes every Friday. Just open your favorite podcast app and do a search for Roddenberry. There, you'll find us and our friends on the Roddenberry Podcast Network. And if you are like folks in our chat tonight, Ragnats, for instance, who have been interested in seeing how the sausage is made, then be sure to catch us live on Tuesday nights at around 8 p.m. Eastern. We go live on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter. All you have to do is keep an eye on our social media channels for those details.
And if you're still craving more, be sure to spend time with Winters and Kat and the rest of the Priority One Armada. Saturday nights, the Armada broadcasts live to review the latest Star Trek Online news. Oh, wait, hang on. That's not right. I'm just going to take it from the top. And if you're still craving more, be sure to spend time with Winters, Kat, and the rest of the Priority One Armada. Saturday nights, the Armada broadcasts live to review the latest news from Star Trek Online and the Armada community, including spotlighting some of its amazing members. With regular giveaways, there is something for all STO players, whether you are new or a veteran. Follow us on our social media accounts for broadcast times, and if you'd like to join the Armada, visit PriorityOneArmada.com.
Is that a question?
Come! And if you'd like to join the Armada, visit PriorityOneArmada.com.
This episode of Priority One is brought to you by our community patrons through Patreon.com. Find out more and add your support at Patreon.com/Priority One. Captains, of course, if you cannot make a financial contributions, we understand, but there are other ways that you can support the show. Share it with your friends, for instance. When you see us post an episode, don't just like it, click it, share, and make sure you tell your friends to get their weekly roundup of Star Trek news right here.
And then you, Zeph.
Oh, yeah, sorry, Zeph. Yeah, you got it the other one.
That's the part that says Anthony, right? Don't forget to tune into Priority One.
Please.
Okay. Don't forget to tune in to Priority One. Wow. Don't forget to tune in to Priority One Productions Guard Frequency podcast at guardfrequency.com. Each episode, the Guard will take you inside the universe of your favorite space sims, including a tabletop adventure played out by your hosts. And Heroes Rise? That's the name of the thing?
Mhm.
Okay. That's weird starting a sentence with and. That's okay. And Heroes Rise bring... Wow.
We do that in America all the time.
Oh, man. Okay. And Heroes Rise. And Hero Rise.
Heroes.
We have
And
complete disregard for grammatical structure.
And Heroes Rise brings you up to date with the world of Dungeons and Dragons. Learn all about... Wow.
Dungeons.
Learn all... But what?
And Heroes Rise brings you up to date with the world of Dungeons and Dragons. You said Dungeon and Dragons. Singular dungeon with
Jesus.
many dragons.
This sentence will be the death of me. And Heroes Rise brings you up to date with the world of Dungeons and Dragons. Learn all about the latest publications, tools, tips, tricks, and traps in less time than it takes to skin a wyvern?
That's good. Keep it. I like that. I love that to death. I love it. I love that. We're keeping that.
Head over.
I love that. We're keeping it.
Man,
We're
if you
keeping
think
it.
reading this is bad, you should actually listen to the podcast. Oh my God! Did I say that live? Oh no!
Shots
Hopefully,
fired to Anthony Hunter.
hopefully Tony's not listening.
Shots fired. to Anthony Hunter.
Head over to heroesrisepodcast.com to discover their secrets.
A very special thanks to our guest host this episode, Zeph Films. Alan, thank you so very much for joining us on this episode. It was a pleasure having you. Again, remind everybody where they can get you.
Zephfilms.ca, 1F. That'll take you right to the YouTube page or Twitter at @the_ZephFilms.
Awesome. Thanks to our audio editors, including Gray, William, Brandon, Rand, Daniel, Roscoe, and Skiffy. Thanks to our producer, Jake Morgan, for assisting in the weekly production. Thanks to our producer, Jake Morgan, for assisting in the weekly production of this podcast and our captain's vlogs. To associate producer, Shane Hoover, for helping us organize and write up our summary of the weekly headlines from the Star Trek multiverse. Thanks to our graphic artist, Henry Pumper, with support from Jason Smith of the Priority One Armada. Thanks to the composer of our theme music, Chris Watts. But most importantly, a big thanks to you, the Star Trek community, our listeners, because without your ongoing support, none of this would be possible. Everybody hit stat. All right, so Anthony, are you comfortable doing like a BRB thing? I have an image that I could give you to play with. Like, so that way we can all go away and pee before we have to do Stone News?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Or do you have access to the art folder? It's in there.
Yeah, just make some good radio.
So art folder, and then it's Twitch frames. What?
I think I just deleted the track because you distracted me.
Just Control Z, man. Control Z.
Control Z. Oh my God. Woo! Woo! Hi, yay!
Control Z home.
That was scary. I thought I was gonna have to re-record those 4 lines I said in the closing.
Go on, Pete. You guys just don't go in bottles, or like?
Yeah, we don't catheter. We don't catheter.
We don't I don't have a stadium buddy.
Yes, I don't. It's under Twitch frames. We have a pretty old one that's in there, but whatever.
Let's see.
Taking a break.
This one is number 7. See?
Yes. Si, senor. Under art, Twitch frames, and then there's taking a break.
Where's the art folder located?
Maybe I don't have it.
Oh, wait a minute. No, I found it. I found it. Twitch frames.
It's the last one, taking a break.
Twitch frames, taking a break.
Audacity.
Available offline. There we go.
So, captains, we're going to take a very short break to refill our glasses, take a bio break, but we'll be right back. So, you're going to want to stay tuned. We're only going to be gone for 2 minutes because we're going to get into Star Trek Online, which is huge. No, not Depends. Come on, guys. Come on. Every talk show has to take a commercial break. We've been going at it for an hour and 40 minutes already. 2 hours. No, 1 hour and 40 minutes. We've been going at it for an hour and 40 minutes.
Yep, that's true.
Let us know when we are ready to take a break, Anthony.
I will let you know in just a moment.
In the meantime, we'll make them good radio. What's your drink of choice, Alan?
I'm actually kind of glad I didn't grab the wine. I think I will now, because Star Trek Online stuff, I'm pretty comfortable. Like, I know you have like stuff here for me to read, but
all right. Yeah, it's okay. And then we have after hours, which you're welcome to join us. It might get a little late, but you're welcome to stick around for after hours and talk more about Picard and talk more about this $300 ship pack.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, so captains, we're gonna take a little break. Don't go away. We'll be no more than 5 minutes tops. 5 minutes tops. See you in a bit. Hello, captains. Welcome back to the live recording of episode 446 of Priority 1. We are live doing now the Stone News. That's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about the Stone News.
In Soviet Stowe, news read you.
In Soviet Stowe,
In Soviet
you buy old ships.
in Soviet Sto, Zen by you.
Wait, we're not in After Dark mode yet, right?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Oh,
Okay.
we're close though. We're
close.
close.
I have the
I've had about a fourth of a bottle of tequila.
I
Oh,
don't
that's
know if.
great.
By the
I
way,
don't know
this right here, this is all tequila.
What?
And I've had this is the
Can you-
fourth one. This is the fourth one I've had.
Can you please pace yourself and let's just get through Stone News and then we can go all out in the after.
I need this. I need this to talk about the legendary
All right.
bundle.
I also just wanted on record that Cat, I'm doing the wine thing in your absence. So.
In her memory. Pour one for my homie.
What?
All right, I'm gonna hit the big red button for Stone News in 3, 2, 1. This is Elijah. Stone News, Sync 1.
This is Anthony. Star Trek Online News, Sync 2.
This is Zeph Films. Stowe News Sync 3.
Stone News in 3, 2. Star Trek Online's 10th anniversary celebration is here with a brand new 2-part episode. Team up with 7 of 9, 12 years after the events of Star Trek Picard, and bring Michael Burnham along for a series of trials that will span the game's 10-year history. The action mostly takes place on or near the planet Excalibur, seen in the original episode, The Savage Curtain. But through the Excalbian matter
Who needs to stop drinking?
Where am I here? Team, let me just take it from the top.
Clear your ducks.
Star Trek Online's 10th anniversary celebration is here with a brand new 2-part episode. Team up with 7 of 9, 12 years after the events of Star Trek Picard, and bring Michael Burnham along for a series of trials that will span the game's 10-year history. The action mostly takes place on or near the planet Excalibur, seen in the original series episode, The Savage Curtain. But through the Excalibian matter reorganizing abilities,
Oh God, you did it!
Bro,
What
that's
happened?
that was hard, bro. That was hard. I had to think real hard.
Big brain moment.
But through the Excalibian matter reorganizing abilities, you'll revisit several key moments in both Star Trek Online and Star Trek television history. These episodes are a self-proclaimed love letter to the past and future of Star Trek Online. Now, we're going to take a dive into all of the content released for the 10th anniversary, so if you haven't had a chance to play along, you might have to save yourself from the... No, I'm not
I would
saying
maybe change that. Yeah.
that. I'm not going to say that.
What? Spoilpedos? Like torpedoes?
Yeah, but...
Spoilpedos?
No, thanks.
Oh my gosh.
we're going to take a dive into all of the content released for the 10th anniversary as of Tuesday, January 28th. So if you haven't had the chance to play along, this is your one and only spoiler warning. Hit pause and revisit this episode after you've played some of the 10th anniversary content. Why is there a community question in the middle of this?
No, now we talk about the stuff.
Oh, now we're just going to talk.
Yeah, that's what we do on a podcast. We talk.
All right, fine.
We talk about our opinions about stuff.
All right, so let's jump into one of the biggest tentpoles of this event, which is the two-parter mission. Anthony, go ahead, go first.
So, obviously, before the mission dropped, there were a couple of websites that kind of spoiled the event and who was coming back. And I'm talking specifically the morning of. So, Tuesday, January 28th, the Eaglemoss website and Star Trek Online teased the event, which I thought was kind of cool that some other websites were getting in on the celebration for Star Trek Online. And so they teased that, Jerry Ryan was coming back as 7 of 9, and she's in her Star Trek Picard costume that we've seen her in the trailers. Sonequa Martin Green is playing Michael Burnham, albeit she is a recreation that the Excalbians made. Very similar to how they recreated Surak and Abraham Lincoln in the Savage Curtain. And then we get to the planet and we have to do the thing that happens in the Savage Curtain, where we're put on trial, where we have to do these trials, good versus evil, so that the Excalbians can kind of choose a way of life based on what's going on. And so we go through a series of missions that are literally touchstones to the past of Star Trek Online. There's one that specifically goes back to a moment from Discovery, and they're all a little bit different. The characters are a little bit different. The conclusions are a little bit different. And in most cases, we have to choose at the end of a trial. We have to choose one way or another we have to choose one way or another what we're going to do in order to inform, how we resolve the issue that the Excalbians have put in front of us. I loved it. I really enjoyed it. There were several WTF moments for me, which I loved. I loved the kind of switcheroo. And since we're doing spoilers, I'll just mention them. One of them is the moment in which Control recreates 7 of 9. And then the other one is later on when 7 becomes the Borg Queen and you have to fight her. Some really fun moments, and obviously the hero moment when all the ships come in at the end of the day to do the big space battle. It was a lot of fun. I loved that it was long. I loved that it was like a big chunk of time you had to spend on doing these two missions, and I felt like it was a proper celebration for Star Trek Online. I really enjoyed it. I loved every moment of it, actually.
So in terms of gameplay, there's not really anything new to what you do on these two missions. There's no new game mechanic, no interesting mini game or interact. This is pretty much a straightforward ground mission experience. So for the most part, until the very end where there's a big space battle at the end of part 2, mind you. So captains, if you're getting ready to do this, I've been playing this game for 10 years now, and it's only been recent that I have felt pretty squishy on the ground, like I die a lot and stuff. So if you want to play this mission on normal or hard, what are the 3 levels? It's easy, normal, and hard. Is that what it is?
Yes.
So if you want to play this mission on normal, I strongly advise that you have all of your ground gear to Mark 15. I did not. I had my armor, my shield, and my weapon to 15, but I could care less about spending upgrade dollars on my kits, right? Until I played this mission, because boy did I die quite a bit. I wanted to I should have taken a screenshot of all my debuffs from dying, because it was hilarious. It was really just funny how many debuffs I had. Anyway, so be prepared for a ground mission.
If you're getting debuffs, you're not playing on normal.
Oh, I'm playing
injuries. You're getting injuries, right?
Yeah, if you're getting injuries, you're not playing
you're
on
playing
normal.
on
You're
playing
playing
on elite.
Yeah, you're playing on
No, I've got
difficult
2
or elite.
notches. I've got 2 notches.
Yeah, that's not normal.
elite.
Oh,
That's not
okay.
that's advanced. It goes
That's
normal,
advanced.
advanced, elite.
So I'm playing on advanced.
Yeah.
So, which is, like I said, what I thought was normal when we said easy, normal, and advanced. I'm in the middle one. I'm in the third one. So if you're playing on the third one, if you're playing on advanced, make sure you've got all level 15, Mark 15 gear. Okay, that aside, the missions themselves. I have not watched that episode of TOS in a long time, and even with the spoilers that they had released, or the teases they had released, I didn't have the opportunity of going back to rewatch that episode of TOS. It's a 3rd season episode, isn't it?
It's like, I think it's like the 2nd or 3rd one before the last episode.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's literally like, let's just like throw a bunch of words on a paper and
yes.
film an episode.
It's very rare that I go back to season 3 of TOS for that reason.
It's not great. In fact, the first 5 minutes of this episode basically sums up everything that happens in the episode, and you don't really need to watch the actual episode. This is way better.
So it was nice to go back and experience some of these missions. There were things that I didn't really remember. It has been 10 years. I am not the kind of player that recreates a new character every other week and goes through all the missions. I usually stick to my one character and play through. So some things were like, oh yeah, I kind of vaguely remember this. Yeah, sure. Of the new environments and the new experiences, the scene that recreates the capture of the Red Angel from season 2 of Discovery.
Oh my gosh.
Was spot on, man. That was spot on. The environment was great. Then the cutscene animation of them actually capturing the Red Angel was killer. I mean, great animation, great environment. I was living that scene. I did things to myself. Gosh, I really wish they had the actor who played Control, who played Leland. Leland? Yeah. I really wish they had gotten Leland. That would have been the icing on the cake. Instead, they had to cut corners a little bit.
I didn't think it was a cutting a corner. I actually, because they established that the Discovery crashed on this planet, so they were there. And yeah, I'm sure they did that for story reasons because they couldn't get Leland or whatever. But I actually thought it was more interesting because when Lorca and Landry and Stamets and Tilly all came out, I was like, I did not think that they were going to be Control. I thought they were coming in to like help or to I thought he was going to talk. I honestly thought Captain Lorca was going to say something, and then the switch happened, and then you had to fight them, and I was like, oh, that was another WTF moment for me.
But that's why I was a little disappointed, because they don't talk, right? Because you've had such amazing voice acting from Jerry Ryan and Sonequa Martin Green that all of a sudden you see the faces of people who have had voiceover work done before not say anything. And again, I get it, it's because they're Control now, but I think what would have pushed this mission really, that one more notch above is if they had managed to score the actor and it was Leland, so that then you can be the one fighting Leland the way that Michelle Yeoh fought hand to hand with Leland in that same episode, right? I think that would have pushed that mission just a little more, right? Just a little over the edge. But nevertheless, that scene was good. I thought Jerry Ryan's writing and dialogue for this episode was spectacular. I thought that it was a great exploration into her character. I thought it It explored certain aspects of her. I liked her cadence in her voice that represents Seven now, the Seven that we will eventually see in Picard, where she's no longer more Borg than human, but instead more human than Borg. So her quips, her witticism, that was refreshing. That was refreshing. But I will say this, and I know, Anthony, it's going to really piss you off. It reminded me of Commander Grayson in The Orville. And that kind of attitude, that kind of just reminded me a little bit of her.
No, I agree. It was a better version of Commander Grayson from Orville.
Okay.
No,
sure.
that's fine. I agree with you.
I think I may have the one critique I have of the mission in the sense of its writing is the trope that they are using somewhat again to bring back a character or bring in a character from Discovery, which is, it's not really the character, it's a facsimile of the character in one way, shape, or form. So we saw we didn't see this with Tilly because it was mirror Tilly, so it was Captain Killy. But we saw it with Stamets, where it's not really Stamets, it's a mycelial Stamets that gets into the main real 2409 world. And we're seeing that again with Michael Burnham's character, Michael Burnham's story. I don't have a workaround for that. I don't know what else they could have done to have included the voice acting and the voice actors to fit into Star Trek Online. I don't have a suggestion for that. It just now I'm like, oh, again with the facsimile.
I have a feeling though that one of the reasons why we're going back to this planet is because from now on they can just use this planet to bring in any character. I think now they don't have to, because even Stamets was a different way of bringing him back than Burnham, than all the other, like everybody had their own way. Now they've established a way that they can just bring back any character from any point before 2411. So, which I'm kind of okay with, because I want those characters in the game and I don't want them to have to strain themselves on trying to figure out a way to get the characters into the game. I just want them in the game, and I'll accept any explanation. And I think this is now an easier way for them to just bring anybody back.
I know it's easy. I know it's easy, but I don't know. I want to say I wish they can get more creative with it, but I don't have any ideas on how to bring Burnham back somehow, or Stamets, without screwing up what's happening on TV or contradicting it. So I don't know. I'm not sure how it.
The only way I can maybe think of them bringing the real Michael Burnham. For the record, I have not played this episode whatsoever. I don't care about the spoilers, whatever. I'm happy just sipping my wine. But she has to do all those jumps in the end of Discovery. And what if on one of those jumps, Species X or whatever, manages to trap her? Like you said in that cutscene where they trap her, bring her in. And maybe when they release her, they wipe her memory. And then season 3, it's a stretch, but it's also like all the temporal shenanigans is also a stretch too, right?
Yes, but it's funny you mentioned that, because it's not her mom who they capture. It ends up being in this rendition, it ends up being her from the future. So
no,
I will say this too, just on a quick aside, the fact that they gave Burnham the same hairstyle that she has in season 3 of Discovery, I thought was a nice touchstone.
Okay, then disregard everything I said.
So
I got nothing.
Yeah, so again, overall, I thought it was a nice touchstone mission. Let me ask you guys something. Anthony, let me ask you. I'm sorry, Alec.
It's cool.
Anthony, let me ask you something. When the when all the various hero ships warp in. Let me take that again. Anthony, let me ask you something. When all the hero ships warp in and you start to hear the audio clips, how did that make you feel after playing Stowe for 10 years?
So I'll be honest with you. The very first time I played through that mission and that moment came, my wife walked in and started asking me questions, and I had to take my headphones off and start listening to her while my ship was getting pummeled and destroyed, while being surrounded by all the various heroes from Star Trek. So that was very frustrating. However, I then restarted that section of the mission and played it again. And when they came in, I got, because, Archer's the first one that well, actually, the Enterprise F is the first one that comes in, and Captain Sean says this thing, and he's got friends. Then, the NX-01 flies in, and Archer says, his thing. And then and clearly it's audio from the shows.
Right.
But I don't care, because it reminded me of Battle at the Binary Stars and how they pulled audio from the episode to recreate that moment and how awesome that was. And I actually felt that this moment was even better, because this is the moment that this game has been driving towards for 10 years, really. You know what I mean? And to be able to be a character in the game, in the universe, and all of the ships and the captains and the characters fly in and say, various famous lines from their episodes right before a giant battle with the Borg and then 6 other assimilated villain ships that you faced over the last 10 years. I mean, I got chills, and it affected me. It made me feel like this is it. This is the thing. This is the celebration of this game and this franchise in a game form. And I don't know what else you could have done to make me feel that way. And I really enjoyed it. I loved it. It makes me want to go back and play that episode more and more, just to do it with all my various characters and re-experience that.
Go ahead, Al.
I just want to say, the way you're describing it from the outside here, it almost sounds like a series finale.
Yeah.
Of, like, the game.
I mean, I don't disagree. It feels like the culmination of, you get to meet this character and this character and this character, and Geordi gives you orders, and you go talk to, Tuvok and Seven, and then you go, talk to all these other characters in the game, and you meet Tilly and Stamets and whatever. And then you have this moment where all the Enterprises, the Defiant, the Voyager, they show up, and you get and Kirk's Enterprise and the Kelvin Enterprise and the Discovery Enterprise. I mean, it's just like it's like
Where
a
was
Trekkie's
the
dream.
jellyfish?
That was in the past in the Kelvin universe.
I remember in the trailer at STLV there was a jellyfish that swooped in around the hero ships. Where's the jellyfish? I'm just saying.
I remember that too.
So, all right. Well, captains, let's. Did I cut you off too early?
Me?
No.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
No, sorry. Now I'm
All right,
confused because has that ship even been in the game yet?
Jellyfish?
Yeah.
Yeah, it came out beginning of December.
Oh,
December 3rd
yeah.
it came
Okay,
out.
so yeah, it's already been in. Okay.
No, but he was saying that
I know what he's
there
talking
was-
about. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, captains, that brings us to our next community question for this week. Did you enjoy the 10th anniversary episodes? Where do you think the Star Trek Online story? What? Where do you think the Star Trek Online story is going now? Again, let us know in the comments section for this episode or by replying to our social media posts later on this week.
I just want to point out to you in your finale that that community question wasn't as your recap of this week's community questions. So you might have to add that in later as a separate extra.
No, it was in there.
I only see 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of them.
Truck it out in this one.
No, it was
You're.
the.
I bet you probably copied him the old one.
Oh, probably, yeah. Yeah, you probably are.
What would you rather see? Discovery 3?
Yeah, that
Oh,
was
Yeah, that was last
week's. Yeah,
week's.
that was last
Sorry.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Oh,
Alright,
oh my
let's go.
God! Hang on. I just closed the document.
Way to go. All right, we're at 20.
Professionalism. Oh yeah, no, it's huge.
3 minutes
This thing's huge. I don't know what else to do. It's everything.
All right.
Also launching along with the 10th anniversary celebration was the Borg Lockbox. Inside is a chance to acquire some of the most requested items since the game is launched. The lockbox includes all of the standard R&D packs and boosts, but each box also contains a Borg data core that contains some information about the Borg Collective, along with a non-combat holographic Borg drone to accompany you on your travels. There are new captain's traits for adapting your defenses and offenses in space and on the ground. A liberated Borg duty officers with interesting active duty abilities are also available. Borg technology kit frames and modules can give your captains all those fun Borg abilities we've seen in the TV shows, and you can add to your arsenal with the Assimilated Plasma Weapons Pack. Of course, you'll be able to complete your Borg look by checking out the Lobi store for the Borg exoskeletal frame for a Borg costume, and the Biological and Technological Distinctiveness Extractor Weapon. And of course, the grand prize of the Borg Lockbox is none other than the Liberated Borg Command Juggernaut, similar to the Borg ship seen in the Next Generation episodes Descent Part 1 and 2.
This bad boy features a tactical command station and This bad features a commander tactical slash.
Sorry, you said this bad features.
Did I? No. This bad boy features a commander tactical slash command station and a lieutenant tactical slash miracle worker station. It also comes with the universal console. Disruptive Topological Matrix, which when activated deals plasma damage to nearby enemies and inflicts viral disruption for a short duration. This console also provides a boost to plasma damage and a hull regeneration. The Starship is enhanced.
Oh, sorry. The Starship trait.
Oh, Starship trait is called Enhanced Nanite Regeneration.
Yes.
The Starship trait is called Enhanced Nanite Regeneration. If slotted, activating a captain or bridge officer heal ability on yourself will gain a significant boost to your hull regeneration. The boost increases in value the more The boost increases in value the more your hull is missing. The Borg Juggernaut comes with an innate ability, Plasma Disintegrator, which fires a massive plasma bolt at your target, which explodes on contact, dealing a devastating amount of plasma damage to every. Wow, I had it too.
I think you can do it from dealing. Take it from which fires.
Yeah. Which fires a massive plasma bolt at your target, which explodes on contact, dealing a devastating amount of plasma damage to everything nearby. Fun fact, any foe who comes in contact with this bolt or explosion will disintegrate when defeated instead on warp core breach. Okay. Fun fact, any foe who comes in contact with this bolt or explosion will disintegrate when defeated instead of warp. Wow, that still sounds weird. Instead of a warp core breach? Of a warp core breach?
Instead of warp core breaching.
Oh, right.
It's a joke.
Fun fact, any foe who comes in contact with this bolt or explosion will disintegrate when defeated instead of warp core breaching. For full list on the lockbox items and stats of the Borg ship, check out the show notes.
Now, captains, it wouldn't be a proper cryptic celebration without the need to talk yourself out of giving them more money. On February 13th, the 10th anniversary Legendary Starship Bundle will be available to purchase in the C-Store on PC, and then on March 3rd for console players. Did I say that weird?
No.
Filled with some of the most sought-after ships, this bundle includes new variations of the hero ships from Star Trek Online and the Star Trek universe. As of this recording, only the Galaxy-class Legendary Command Exploration Cruiser and the Defiant-class Legendary Pilot Warship have been revealed. But rest assured that this pack will likely include many of the starships that have starred in our favorite Star Trek movies and TV shows across all of the multiverses. Such as an update to the NX-01, an update to the Discovery, an update to the Sovereign class, an update to the Constitution. No? I thought the Sovereign was getting.
Yeah, but none of that's officially been announced.
I don't care at this point.
Okay. All right, that's fine. That's fine. I just want you to know that.
That shit got leaked all over the place.
I did not get any of this information from me because I don't know any of this.
Yeah.
No, all of that's been leaked.
Just hold up a copy of your NDA.
Filled with some of the most honored of this bundle includes new variations of hero ships from the Starship. Okay. New variations of the hero ships from the Star Trek universe. More than likely, also including an update to the Discovery, the NX-01, the Constitution. Look, you can look at those silhouettes and get a pretty good idea of what those ships are going to be.
Actually, all of the silhouettes are the Enterprise F.
No, they're not.
Yep.
Yeah, they are.
Every single one is the Enterprise F.
Filled with some of the most sought-after ships, this bundle includes new variations of the hero ships from the Star Trek Online and greater Star Trek universe. Now, although as of this recording, only the Galaxy-class Legendary Command Exploration Cruiser and the Defiant-class Legendary Pilot Warship have been revealed. But rest assured that this pack will likely include many of the starships that have starred in our favorite Star Trek movies, TV shows, and all across the multiverses. More than likely, you can bet your bottom dollar. All right, fine, I won't do it. A Legendary Command Exploration Cruiser. The Legendary Command Exploration Cruiser does come with the Enhanced Engineering Systems Space Set, previously only available for Federation characters from their Tier 4, 5, and 6 versions of the Exploration Cruiser. It also comes with the Tier 6 Cruiser ability and trait package, along with a brand new account-wide Starship trait, Make It So. Oh my god, I need water.
This is so much. This is an abbreviated version also. I'm not even listing every single thing that they...
The Legendary Pilot Warship comes with the Stealth Fighter Space Set. Okay. The Legendary Pilot Warship, aka the Defiant, comes with the Stealth Fighter Space Set. Again, previously available on the Tier 4, 5, and 6 versions of the Defiant. Again, this ship comes with... I lost my place. Again, this ship... I can't even. It's a long text. Again, this ship comes with the warship ability and trait package and comes with the overpowered and overgunned account-wide starship trait. Both of these ships come with all available visual variants, including the new USS Ross. Oh, Jesus Christ, these sentences. Both of these ships come with the all available visual variants, including the new USS Ross variant for the Galaxy and the nose art variant for the Defiant. The nose art version allows you to add preset graphics to the nose of the Defiant, similar to old World War II bombers, or the famous Defiant development patch designed by United States Air Force Top Gun artist Johnny Hawk, or Doug Drexler's DS9 tech.
Four.
Johnny
say
Hawk
four?
for
Sorry.
Doug Dress. Similar to old World War II bomber. God. Similar to old World War II bombers, or the famous Defiant development patch designed by United States Air Force Top Gun artist Johnny Hawk for Doug Drexler's DS9 technical manual. The closer we get to February 13th, the more
Sorry. More.
the closer we get to February 13th, the more ships that will be revealed as part of this bundle. Now, you're probably wondering how much it's going to set you back for this bundle. Well, captains, if you're driving, pull over. If you're standing, sit down. If you're doing anything that requires your attention, if you're operating heavy machinery, stop. And what? Why sharp objects?
Because I would stab somebody when I learned what the price of this was.
You see, the standard bundle, which includes 10 Tier 6 ships, over 20 ship costume variants, including a new exclusive variant or... Wow, this is long, man. Jesus. You see, the standard bundle, which includes 10 Tier 6 ships, over 20 ship costume variants, including a new exclusive variant for each ship, all of the consoles and traits from previous versions of the ship, brand new traits, and 10 ship slots, is priced at 30,000 Zen, with an introductory price of 19,500 Zen. Roughly translated to about $195. But get this, there's also a premium bundle available, which includes everything we just mentioned, plus 10 master keys, 10 Infinity R&D packs, 10 enhanced universal tech upgrades, 10 Phoenix prize packs, 100 low-buy, 1 epic Phoenix prize token, 10,000 dilithium, and the exclusive title, Legend of the Quadrants. I feel like Stewie. Friends become enemies, enemies become friends. Let me try that again. There is a premium bundle available, which includes everything we just mentioned, plus 10 master keys, 10 Infinity R&D packs, 10 enhanced universal tech upgrades, 10 Phoenix prize packs, 100 low buy, 1 epic Phoenix prize token, 10,000 dilithium, and the exclusive title, Legend of the Quadrants, all for 45,000 Zen, with an introductory price of 29,300 Zen, or roughly $300 US. Well, if you're still conscious after that sticker shock, be sure to check out our show notes for more details to see the newly revealed ships.
So this is a big deal, right? We're getting all of the big hero ships. Many of these ships, while not the specific layouts, were previously available in lockboxes. They're getting all new visual variants, brand new traits, and that price tag. I remember we talked last week off air about what I thought this was going to be. I guesstimated that this was going to be $150, pack on sale for $75, and boy, was I wrong.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of outrage about the prices, and I'm still trying to figure out the math on this one. Especially, my brain is really broken around the premium bundle, and I'm trying to figure out. Well, my brain is saying no, it's not worth $150, but do the universal tech upgrades, the Phoenix prize packs, 100 low buy, epic Phoenix token, the dilithium, and the title. Oh my god, the title. Does that really equal to that extra $150 if we're just looking at like the normal price?
So I actually sat down and I went through and I looked at what it would take regular price to get the consoles, the visual variants, the trait package, the ship slots, all of that stuff, and I added it up. The standard bundle, if you were to buy everything not on sale, and roughly 1,000 Zen equals $10. Now I know if you buy more Zen, you get a bonus. So these are maximum numbers, right? So if you were to actually drop cash on this stuff, you would end up paying less. But we're just going to round up here for the sake of the discussion.
Math. Yeah.
So I went through and I added everything together for the standard bundle. The standard bundle itself, with the 10 ships, the costume variants, etc., is valued at around 97,500 Zen. And they're selling it for a regular price of 30,000 Zen. So if you
$1,000 versus
300. So that's if you were to buy individually. So the hero ships come with the Space Gear set for that ship. So if you were to buy the tier 4 ship at 1,500 Zen, the tier 5 ship at 2,000 Zen, and the tier 6 ship at 3,000 Zen, that's what I'm figuring. Now I'm also including the ship you're actually getting with the trait, with the brand new trait. And I'm saying, okay, instead of getting a new console, you're getting all the variants that you would also have to pay for if you wanted just the visuals, and we'll call that a 3,000 Zen ship. So if you add that together, the 10 ships in the standard bundle would cost you 97,500 Zen. So at just 30,000 Zen. You know, when I first saw this, I had the same reaction as a lot of other people, but then I did the math on it, and this is a deal, man. Like 30,000 Zen, a regular price, not even the sale price, for all these ships is a deal. It's less than 1/3 what it would actually cost you to go out and get everything. Now, that's assuming you don't already have any of this stuff, right? Now, the premium bundle, here's where it gets crazy, okay? So the premium bundle, not on sale, is 45,000 Zen. I started adding up the numbers, and when I got over 100,000 Zen, I just stopped adding. I stopped trying to figure it out, because at that point, I mean, you're still getting a deal, right? So while these price tags look large, you're actually saving money, assuming you don't have everything. Now, I think my recommendation for people is to go through and say, okay, how many of these ships do I have? And how much Zen have I spent? And is it worth it for me to then drop the whole amount to get the remainder of this stuff that I don't have? I think that's the real question for people who have been playing this game for a long time. But somebody new coming in who's going to spend a lot of time on this, you know, unpopular opinion, but I have to say, this is a great deal, especially with the sale prices.
This is another one of those things that I don't think are necessarily aimed at 10-year-old players like us. Anthony, like you just said, this could very well be the incoming whale, which is a term used to describe a person who has the expendable income to spend on a game, comes in to play this game after watching something like Picard and says, oh, I want all the enterprises. Give me all the hero ships. I'm going to spend the $200. Yeah, there's no doubt that this is definitely a bargain compared to all the individual things combined, for sure. You know, there's a part of me that's like, what's in it? What am I going to spend this? What am I going to get out of this pack? right? I am not. This is definitely for the player that is new and wants to have all the hero ships, or the player that wants to have all the things, right? The casual player, I think I flew the Galaxy ship, the Galaxy class Enterprise once. I don't like the Galaxy refit, right? The with the third nacelle, things like that don't necessarily play well to me. I recognize though that this is in fact a pretty decent deal. I think the problem is with marketing, right? They released the price before telling you what other ships were going to be part of this bundle. Why do that? Isn't that putting the proverbial cart before the horse? Why would you sticker shock everybody with a massive price like this? Because the closest thing to in the game right now that costs that much is a lifetime subscription, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the next closest thing that is
Actually,
a big ticket item.
You think about it, the premium pack is actually more expensive than the lifetime subscription at full price.
Right. So what was the marketing thought in respect to releasing the price of it before releasing all of what's in it?
Yeah. Unless they're just going for that shock factor of talk.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure because right now yes, it's very easy for you to look up and go on the Reddit and find out what people have dug up from what's on Holodeck and things like that, what's Stow leaks, things like all that, sites like that.
Yeah, we don't know what it's coming with.
Right. We don't necessarily know. We don't know what it's coming with. We don't know how powerful these ships are. We have an idea of what the ships are going to be. But still, to release the price before telling you what you're going to get, I mean, I hate to say it, but guys, you've been doing this for 10 years. Didn't you think by now, don't you know the community well enough to know that we're all going to freak out over the sticker shock?
Yeah. To quote Dodgeball, it's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it works out for them. And so far, it's not. I completely agree that announcing the prices before announcing everything in the bundle, I think that was just probably the biggest shouldn't have done that whatsoever. The other thing, I think the biggest question, and I honestly think this, now that they've announced the prices, I think they need to do a little bit of damage control and rip the Band-Aid off and answer the question, well, what if I want to buy the ship separately? Because people are asking that question a lot. It's not being answered. Why not just be like, why not just answer it now? Like, we've already got the shock out of the way. Just tell us if we can get it separately. And I think it would be it would be really bad if they didn't sell the ships separately, to be honest. In my opinion, I think you're going to get, if they don't, there's going to be a lot more upset people. And I honestly wouldn't blame them if they threw their arms up and said, you know what, I'm done. Because that's bad. I hope they don't lock it all behind a bundle, because you might as well just put these things in an R&D pack, honestly.
Yeah, you see, buying this as a bundle doesn't interest me because I'm very particular about the ships that I fly in Star Trek Online. Yep. I don't have 30 characters. I have one character. I have others that I've played around with and gotten to level 65, or I have one character that's still level 50, for instance. This is not for me because I'm not going to use all of those ships.
Yeah,
I would probably buy look, I love the Sovereign. I would probably, and I have virtually every Sovereign available in the game. The Hero Clicks one, the Vizier, all I have all the Sovereigns because I love that ship. But I'm not going to spend $300 to get it in a bundle.
Yeah, no. Especially when the revamped skin just came out today and it's free. So now you have the animated Bazaar collectors on your Sovereign. Like, it looks phenomenal.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, all the hero ships. So the Galaxy Dreadnought, Intrepid, Defiant, and Sovereign. They were all reworked by Thomas Maroney and Donnie, so they look more screen accurate. The Defiant looks bueno, and those rework skins are available as of right now. So if you have the older ships, you can use those skins. Now
Right.
I realize that they're introducing a new ship with new spec. Like the Defiant was a 5-3, and it's a pilot ship, which is actually really appeals to the people who like the Defiant. And I think that there is like where people will be like, you know what, I just want to buy the Defiant. I don't want to buy the entire bundle. And for me personally, all this extra stuff and the premium stuff, like the 10 master keys, the all that other stuff, that doesn't mean anything to me. Like, that's not worth spending the extra $150 for, in my personal opinion. It just really not worth it. Like, we can get upgrades so easily through Phoenix prize packs because they're around all the time. What's 100 low buy gonna get me? A bullion cannon? I already have that. And again, this is for me, and I know this opinion is going to be really subjective to everyone. Like, everything is subjective. Everyone's going to have a different opinion, and that's fine. But all these extra things in the premium is honestly just fluff and not worth the $150 for me.
Go ahead.
I do want to point out that while the screen accurate revamp skins are available for free, these do come with specific exclusive skins that are only available in the bundle. For the Defiant, you get the nose art. For the Galaxy, you get the USS Ross variant. And you know, we know from the leaks that there's also other variants that will be coming with the other hero ships. I, for one, just spent a bunch of time. Like, I spent one of my free tier 6 ship coupons on a tier 6 Defiant before I knew this bundle was coming out. So I literally have tried to get the quote unquote hero ships for several of my characters at the tier 6 level. And then all of a sudden they release this bundle. So for me, it's a little frustrating because I've been spending time grinding the game out to get the tier 6 versions of the hero ships for several of my characters. So I could have one on one character, one on another. And then they just drop a bundle that I could have spent cash on instead of grinding the game. And that's a little frustrating to me as a player because this is certainly the easier way out, you know? And instead of grinding in the game to get those fleet modules, I could have just grinded to get the dilithium, to then buy the Zen, to then buy this bundle. So, you know, it's interesting because the marketing and the Zen store is turning into a new player only store. And it's the bundles that they're releasing are for new players, people who have not invested a lot of time in the game. And that's getting a little frustrating being a legacy player, being somebody who's played the game for the last 10 years. And I wish that there were options similar to what they did with the Discovery Operations pack, where if you had already purchased the starter pack, you got a discount on the operations pack. So why can't they do something like that moving forward? I feel like the marketing and the Zen store, whoever's in charge of the Zen store, really is disconnected from the player base and from the community that actually plays this game.
Yeah, you know, I was just about to say that before you started talking, is that, you know, I'm fortunate enough that I have some expendable income to spend. I don't really buy games that often. When I do, I invest my money in Star Trek Online because, you know, Skiffy, for instance, wrote in the chat, you know, I like to support the game. I mean, I don't have $200 to support the game. Also, I have to be conscientious about how I spend my money. I want to have if I'm going to spend $60 and up on something in a game, I need to feel that I'm getting value in return. And although things like Phoenix prize packs and low buy and tokens and dilithium, some of those things, sure, could be good. The marketing draw are the ships, right? So I think I can't, if they don't do these ships individually in some way, I think that would be a incredibly missed opportunity, because I don't want to fly the Galaxy, but I want to fly a Sovereign, or I want to fly an update to the Discovery, or I want to fly an update to the Defiant, and I might be willing to buy that ship with in a bundle or by itself. So what's worth more to them, whoever's in charge of the purse strings there? Is it worth 10 people spending $300, or 20 people spending $60?
Well, and the thing that I was also going to point out is like the huge there's two huge frustrations here. One, the other factions are left out again. So far, I have a feeling that it isn't. I hope to God that there is some KDF and some Romulan ships in this. The fact that it's like I get the feeling that there isn't, and if there isn't, I feel bad for the KDF and Romulan players. The second thing is, like you were saying, the legacy players, it's hard to see the value in this because we've been around for so long. We have our favorite ships. Like me, one of my favorite canon ships is the Sovereign as well. I have them all. Right. And let's be real, I have all the ships. And for me to look at these new ships, and if they're only available through the bundle, it's like, why would I pay all that money to get even more consoles that I can't use again, because you can only use that console once on a build? Like, why would I want duplicates of consoles that I already have? And I don't think there's going to be a discount system built in. Like, that just seems too complicated for the Zen store to figure out. Hey, what consoles do you have? Okay, we'll assign the appropriate discount. And I don't know. It's this marketing was a flop.
I mean, I'm going to sit down and figure out if it's worth it for me to get this, if I get more value out of it than what I already have. But to be honest with you, if they did break it up on a ship-by-ship basis, I probably would eventually buy, like, even if they took the 30,000 Zen, right, for the standard bundle, and they divided that up evenly between the 10 ships, I could almost guarantee you I would probably buy every single one of them, but over the course of a year or two.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was going to say.
And like, I just feel like they're leaving money on the table. I honestly do. I think this is a bad business decision. I feel like this is a bad business decision because there are a lot of players out there that have, 30 to 80% of the stuff that's already in this bundle. And yeah, they would love the new variant costume, or they would love the new trait, or they would love the new ship with the new innate ability, but they're not going to fork out this much money for it. But if they broke it down into segments, they would definitely spend money on it. So
like, look at the mental process that one has to go through for even trying to decide to figure out if they want to buy the lifetime membership for Star Trek Online. Like, I was talking with my friend the other day, and she wanted to buy the lifetime membership that's 50% off, that's the lowest it's been that low. Anyway, it's still $150 upfront price. And for me, up until recently, I was month to month sub. Like, I paid my $15.44 Canadian each month to have all the perks, and I got to 1,000 days and I was happy. And it's just like, is it really worth it for me to get the lifetime sub now? Like, I have everything. What else am I going to get? Oh, I can play a liberated Borg now, or I can play a Talaxian. Fantastic. And I think it's that kind of same mentality with these ships. It's like, do I really want to spend $450 on all the things, or do me personally, I'd get one ship, play with it. If I got bored of it and I wanted to try another one, then I'd look at the store and be like, okay, hey, I want to try this one now. I think that,
so we've been talking about this quite a bit now. I think a few things here. One is that this was a poor marketing decision, and that's not necessarily Cryptic's fault. This could have, these kind of monetary marketing things could have come from Perfect World Entertainment.
Yeah.
This kind of backwards marketing ploy of, let's tell the price first before we tell them everything that they're going to get. again, my question is, have you not been on the forums in the last 10 years? Have you not been on the Star Trek Online subreddit over the last 10 years to make that kind of error?
I guarantee you the people making the decisions have not.
Yeah. And to all of our points, this is definitely not for us, or at least not yet, right? From what we've seen. However, if they were to release these bundles in different variations and in things that we may not have, a sovereign bundle, a discovery bundle, or something, then you might see the 10-year-old players open up their wallets again. Because I'm not interested. So let's just go around the table. Anthony, at this point right now, would you spend $195 to $300 on this? Yes or no?
Without sitting down and using a calculator, no, I wouldn't do it. I'd
Zeph,
rather spend my
how about
money
you?
on keys and open Borg lock boxes.
Zeph, how about you?
No, because at the 450, that equals almost $600 Canadian for me. So no.
Yeah, and I'm at a no too. But I think we're all in agreement that if they were to release these things separately at 30, 40, 50, 60 bucks a pop in some variation or so, then we probably would end up forking up the money. Yeah, I hope they don't forget about the legacy players, the 10-year-old players, and making sure that they want to keep us happy to continue to give money. What about you, captains? We've asked this question already on our social media platforms, and we'll ask it again now. So let us know if you think this is a handsome bundle for you, and then you might be interested in purchasing it. Let us know in the comments section of this episode or by replying to our social media posts about it.
Well, moving on to lighter news, Cryptic also released a fun infographic with some highlighted stats for the game. Of all accounts created, 41% are on PC. Hang on.
You know what? Let's skip this. Can we just read the fleet uniform?
Sure.
The free Starfleet uniform?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it, by the way. It's just these two things, and then that's it.
Actually, Anthony, how about... no, Zeph, go ahead and do it. I think we should sweep, kind of like what Anthony said, is moving on to lighter news, but also like moving on to lighter news and free things.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can do that.
Which what won't cost you 450,000 Zen.
Moving on to lighter things and free things. If you haven't already, be sure to claim your free $23.99. Wow. Be sure to claim your free $23.99 Starfleet uniform in-game. The uniform, as seen in Star Trek Picard, is the latest on-screen version of the iconic costume. Complete with matching comm badge, this uniform will only be free for a limited time. So be sure to get yours. Complete with matching comm badge, this uniform will only be free for a limited time. So be sure to get yours from the promotion tab in the C-Store.
That's it for this week in gaming news. Now let's look on screen for the premiere episode of Star Trek Picard, titled Remembrance.
All right, everybody hit stop. Wow. Ooh. Wow.
Hey, so Winters, I know what you're saying about like the 30 ships, but the thing is that like 2 out of the 3 ships for each version, at least for the Galaxy and the Defiant, are tier 4 and tier 5, which you're not going to use at endgame at all. And now that tier 6 ships can be used from tutorial to endgame, you're never going to use those ships. So you're really only buying them for the console. The other thing is that when people build a ship build, you know this, like they just go for the console. They pick a ship they want to play, and then they go get the consoles that are going to work with that ship. So in my opinion, when I was calculating it, I honestly only looked at, well, what is the console that you're going to get? And then also what is because you buy, like I've literally bought ships from the low buy store just to get a console.
All right, captains. That's it. We're done.
Well,
we're done.
with this show. Now we got to go do the other show.
Now we got to do the other show. Shit,
Which will probably be a continuation of...
Yes, it will be a continuation of... I saved it as a wave file accidentally. Whoops.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, my God.
Oh, and then you have
Oh,
to...
my God.
bad.
Then you have to explain to me where I'm dropping all these files.
So Winters,
just send them to me as a. Hold on, wait. Well, actually, we'll talk about that afterwards.
Yeah, sure.
All right, here's what's up. So Winters, Skiffy, if you want to join us for after hours, you guys have the Zoom links, right? So just come onto Zoom. We can hash this out on after hours. We've got to do something for our patrons. Remember, captains, at $10, just $10 a month. That's a happy meal.
No, I have not bought the pack, Jamal. I probably won't be buying the pack.
That is $10 a month is not that much. Maybe, hopefully. So if you are interested in learning and getting our unedited opinions on all the things Star Trek Online, Star Trek literature, Star Trek everything, check out our unedited show. It's on Patreon. $10 a month. What is that? $2 $2.50 a week, pretty much. $2.25 a week. At $10, you get all the perks from 1 to 10. You can join us on our private Discord channels to talk with us throughout the week and talk about all the happenings in Star Trek and that's at $5. You can join our Discord for $5. Can you believe $5 on Discord? You can join.
You got me sold.
And then at $10, not only do you get discount, you get a birthday card. If you tell me your birthday and your mailing address, and I'll send you a birthday card. Every year. I don't care, for as long as you're a patron. And at $10, you get a whole show, a whole separate show talking with that is unscripted. It is Priority One, hair down. So check us out over at patreon.com/Priority One. Zeph, you're on Patreon too, aren't you?
Yes, I have my own Patreon.
And what is that? Share with everybody.
I think it's patreon.com/SethFilms Productions.
So, check him out too if you are a supporter of community content. Remember, captains, we're all community creators. Like, we do not get paid for this. This doesn't pay our cell phone bills. Well, I don't know about Zeph. I can't speak for Zeph. Maybe Zeph is getting paid. Maybe Zeph is a millionaire right now and his house is paid for by his videos. And I'm very jealous if it is, but I don't want to talk about it. We're community creators, captains, and a lot of it comes from your support. So, and even if you can't contribute financially, don't forget to share. When Zeph posts a video, share that video with your friends. When we post a podcast, share it with your friends. Let them know that they can get their weekly roundup of news right here. They can get Zeph's videos on YouTube when new ships are actually even before ships are released. I'm putting Zeph's Patreon link in the restream, so it goes out to everybody. So check him out, check us out. Until next time, Zeph, again, thanks so very much.
Thank you very much for having me. I hope I did Kat proud.
You did us all proud. Thank you so very much. Next week we have a very special guest joining us to talk about all the things. I'm going to confirm one more time before I announce who it is. But I'm pretty sure we're good to have him on.
Because after this episode, he may not want to come on.
After this episode, yeah. All right, captains, have a good night. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Command codes verified. Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.